So this is what you will need to do the timing chain on a VE Commodore 3.6 litre V6. You will need the camshaft alignment tools. For my application I only need 2 of these. The third one is for the SIDI models. Then you got the mace timing chain kit here. Comes with the stickers obviously and the card. Comes with the gasket kit for the timing cover. It comes with the 2 new idler gears. Just open them up and give you a look at those. There you go. It's a new idler gear. It's 2 of those. Comes with all new chain guides. Comes with all the new tensioners as well. Pull one out and show you. New tensioner. Just don't pull the pin out until you've installed the chain. So it comes with all the new tensioners as well. More chain guides, another tensioner. Comes with the water inlet gasket. It's a part number for that. Comes with the tensioner gaskets. Comes with the new crankshaft pulley. Some chain lube. That's the chain guide for the oil pump, but I won't be replacing the oil pump, so I'll just be changing the guide. And you've got the chains here. So that'll be the third chain. That's the crank chain, and it links both the cams together. And there's one of the cam chains. Okay, that's about it. That comes in the bag. So let's get installing this chain. Okay, now to start, before you remove the chains, you want to put that white mark on the crank sprocket to that white mark to the left at about 8 o'clock. That white mark there, as you can see there. So you want to spin that around till it reaches that point. And we'll get started by taking off the left hand chain first. Okay, now that that side's lined up, we're going to undo the tensioner guide and then the chain guide, and that'll loosen that up. But first I'm going to put the camshaft alignment tool in there to make sure that the camshaft doesn't move. You can see we've got all the pulleys on the right hand side bank off. Now I need to rotate the crank to the other timing mark to get the other chain off. So now we're going to spin it the other way to line it up with the other timing mark. So now we can take that pulley and that pulley off and get bit of the main drive chain. So to do that, we're going to take the tensioner off first, and then the top guide. That's the old pulley there. That's the old chain. Now we can go ahead and remove the secondary chain. So we're going to remove the tensioner first, and then the tension guide, and then the chain guide. Then we're going to remove the last sprocket. So because we're not replacing this bottom tensioner here, chain guide, sorry, on the old pump, we're just going to replace the cover off this new one. So we're just going to take it off this new guide and put it on that one. So to get that off, I'll just zoom out. So to get that off, what you want to do is stretch the guide a little bit. Just pop it off the end, and that'll come off. And then you've just got to do the same thing to the original one. There you go, it's popped him off. That's an old guide. Now we're just going to press the new one on. There we go. The new guide's on. So now it's going to make sure that the new sprockets are aligned. Yep, those two marks are lined up. And then we're going to put the new chain on in this bank. So we're going to set off by putting the chain and the guides on. So what you want to do here is put start off by putting the sprocket for this side on. You just double check that. It says there, left bank front. So here I've got the tensioner and its gasket. So here I'm just putting on the old bolts back onto the tensioner. It's easier to thread the bolts on first and then put the tensioner on. I'm just putting these in loosely, and then I'm going to torque them properly later. So I've just moved these two pulleys to the right timing mark, so I'm going to put this motor in there so it doesn't move anymore. So it just goes in the back there, slips on, and just holds on like that. And that cam shouldn't move. Now I'm going to tighten that bottom bolt and put the primary chain on. Now I'm using some of this assembly lube that came with that pack, so I'm just going to put that on the sliders, some on the chain. I'm going to come back and torque these properly with the torque wrench. Now this kit came with plastic guides, I'm just going to take the guides off and put them on the old metal ones because I don't like the plastic ones. It just seems a bit weird. So to do that, all you got to do is pop them out from those grooves and it'll come off. All you got to do is put your screwdriver in there, pry them up. They should come off just like that. Now I'm going to put that on the old metal one. So here's the old metal one. I'm just going to do the same thing. Stick my screwdriver in there, lift him up, he just pops out. Then the new one goes in. Just like that. Now that goes back on there. Now I'm going to torque these up, the proper torque specs later. Now I'm just fitting it all loosely to make sure it all lines up. So far, you got the two timing marks on the top lining up. Look at that dot there, right in there, on that side. And then through that hole, you can see the orange one through that hole there. So now we'll do the main chain from the crank to the two sprockets. So let's do that. Now you can pull this one out now, just to hold it in place. And that's still lined up. So now we're going to put the other pulley on. Now the primary drive chain is the one with the 3 lines. This one here. So I'm just going to lube it up a little bit. Some of that lube on the gears as well. Now I'm going to try and line these up. So this one is an arrow pointing up. This one will line up with the hole. Now the bottom chain's on. I'm just going to put all the guides in and starting with the top guide. There you go, the bottom one's in. Just make sure they're all still lining up. And you can pull the pin out. Make sure you just double check that they're tight. And again, I'm going to torque these up at the end to the proper torque spec. I'm just putting them in loosely now, just make sure everything lines up. Now what we need to do is rotate the engine to the second timing mark on the crank so we can do this bank. You just got to make sure you remove your camshaft locking tool, otherwise it won't rotate. That side's lined up. Now I'll grab the chain and we'll put the other chain on. Find the marks labelled R on these cams. That's where your lines go. They're on there. On there. So install that chain guide on the side. Make sure you put some assembly lube on it too. Spread that all around it. Line up your bottom mark. Yep, it's all lining up, so now I'm going to put the tensioner on. Make sure you apply some assembly lube on that. And then just spread it around. And then grab the tensioner. And get the tensioner on there. You can just double check all your marks. It's lined up, what's lined up. The bottom one's lined up. I'll just show you that. You can see that the two top ones are lined up. See it says R for the right hand bank. And that one as well, R for the right hand bank. And then down the bottom there, lined up with the hole, as you can see. So now what you got to do is turn the engine over by hand a couple of times to make sure that everything's fine. That's what I'm going to do now. Just turn it over by hand. Oh, just pull this out too. Okay guys, so once you've turned it over a couple of times, all the timing marks should still line up. And then you can go ahead and clean up the mating surfaces and prepare it for reinstallation of the timing cover. So I got to doing that. As you guys can see here, that surface is now nice and clean, ready for the timing cover to go on. Just make sure you put something under there, under the pan there, so nothing gets into your oil pan as you're scraping the gasket down. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing to the cover. And I get all that old gasket off. And then I'm going to apply some new gasket material out of a tube. And then we'll replace all the seals. The kit came with all these seals, so we're going to replace all these. And then we'll stick it back on. As you guys can see here, the timing case, the mating surface here is nice and clean. Gotten rid of all the old gasket material. Even got rid of this gasket that wasn't here, so I'm going to replace that now. The new one. So I've got my pack of new gaskets here. That's the code there. want to flip it over. You want to change all these ones. Here's all the new ones. Here's all the new ones. And you're going to replace the main one. Okay, now we need to replace the water pump gasket. Alright guys, compared to when we first started, you can see the chains are now nice and tight. That's not moving at all. That's nice and tight. That's a bit tighter up the top, and it's a bit tighter up the top there too. Alright, let's keep going. So now you want to just leave it like this for a little bit before you do the final torque, just to let the gasket get tacky and harden up a little bit, and then you do the final torque. Now while that's drying, I'm going to reconnect the AC compressor and put the power steering pump back on. So I'm going to start with the AC compressor. So now that the AC compressor is back on, you can put the power steering pump back up. And to do that, we need to put the bracket back on. Okay guys, so we've got the power steering pump bracket here. Just going to put that back on. Okay guys, now we're going to torque the timing cab bolts up to 20 Newton meters. So let's get started. Okay, now that those are all torqued, go ahead and put in the cam actuators. Just plug that sensor in on the bottom. It's hard to get to. And now you can reinstall the power steering reservoir. Right, now that the reservoir is back on, just go ahead and hook this back up there. You want to put the pump back onto its mount. Alright guys, now that the power steering is done, we can move on to putting in the idler pulley here. Now we can move on to putting in the tensioner pulley. So here we've got our crank pulley. Want to get him on there, get a rubber mallet, and just try and hit him in the middle. Now, while I was hitting this on, I used a heat gun to apply a bit of heat to the pulley to make it easier to fit over the shaft. There we go, that's on there. Now I need to put the bolts back in it. Alright, now that the crank bolt's done, I'm going to do the water pump pulley. We'll torque those up once the belt's on. Now we can put the rocker covers back on. Now to get this side of the bank to clean up a bit, you can take out the breather on this bank and make that hole. See those tiny little holes? Make those a little bit bigger to help this side breathe better. I'm going to do that, and then we'll get back into it. Okay, now we can reinstall the middle plenum here. Take all the paper out of there. Alright guys, now we can refit the coil packs. Now to plug them all back in. Now the water neck, we need to replace that seal and that O-ring with the new ones that we've got here. It came in with the timing chain kit. That's the number there. Here goes the first one. That's that one. There we go. So now we install into the car. Alright, so now we install this water neck. All we're going to do is put it in there. Just slot it into that hole and get the 2 bolts for it. Alright, so to start, just take all the paper out. Make sure you got every single little bit. So the metal ones here, these are reusable. The paper ones, old paper ones, aren't reusable. Just like that. And then you can install your plane. Now you want to plug in your map sensor before you go any further. It's just easier to do it now. And put this bracket back on. Plug your throttle bottle back in. Then you can put this breather back on. Then don't forget the PCV at the back there. And don't forget to put your brake booster vacuum line back in. And you want to put these guys back on. you want to do now is do up your clamps, and then put in your air box back in, then top off the coolant, and then you should be able to start it up. So I'm going to get to doing that now and come back when it's done. Alright guys, now that everything's back together, you can see you can top up the coolant, and then we're going to give it this first start up. So I'm going to start off by putting in coolant. Now I'm going to grab the distilled water. Now what you want to do is start the vehicle. This will be the first time we'll start it, but since the chain was changed, and when you start it, you want to make sure the heater's on full, so that the coolant can circulate around the heater core. So let's go do its first startup. Here we go guys, first startup. So let's start her up. So we'll just wait for that coolant to bleed. So you got to make sure that your heater's on full. Just let that coolant circulate all the way through the system. Going well so far, no check engine lights. So let's go back up front and check on those on the coolant. While it's running, you want to keep topping it up. Make sure you bleed all the air out of there. It'll keep bubbling up, and all the air will escape, and then we're ready to go. But she's running beautifully. Good. Let's check if there's any lights coming up yet. I'll let it run for a while. Let that coolant bleed. You can see that it's bubbling even more now, which means the thermostat's opened up. So the bubbles have stopped now, so put the lid back on. So we'll put the lid back on now. And we'll wait for it to get warm. So that, guys, is how you change the timing chain on a VE Commodore V6. This was very successful, as you can see. No engine lights or anything. It's running happily. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll keep those videos coming up for you. Thank you.